Welcome to the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. Now enjoy the show. All right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Type 1 Lifting. So Type 1 Lifting is a clothing brand that proceeds of the shirts, the hats, and everything else go to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. This whole t-shirt company started from me taking care of a 5-year-old girl from the emergency department at the Children's Hospital I worked at in Atlanta for a while back. I thought I needed to do a little bit more than kind of just talk about my story. So this is how I started the clothing line, because I wanted to show people that even though diabetics have this really bad disease, we can still do amazing things in our life, and diabetes won't stop us reaching our goals. So go check out type1lifting.com. And, if you have any questions, you can always reach me out on Instagram. It's Type 1 Lifting, and hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Liberté Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I've had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have a very interesting guest. I've actually followed him on Craig Ritchie's YouTube vlog. It's CrossFit athlete Drew Wayman. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. First off, I want to congratulate you on your engagement.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So how long have you guys been dating?
We got engaged on our 8-year anniversary. So we started dating senior year of high school, and have been together ever since then.
Dang. So how did you propose to her?
So we spent the day going all over Cincinnati to significant locations that have meaning in our relationship. Like we went to our high school where we started dating, our first apartment together, things like that. And at each spot, I gave her a photo of us from that time, and then we went to the last spot, which was a big overlook over all of downtown Cincinnati, and I gave her the last photo and then asked her to marry me there.
Nice. Very cool. So do you have a wedding date at all, or?
We actually just set one, so it's December 3rd of next year.
Very cool.
We finally got one booked. It was quite the process trying to find one next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when my wife and I got married, it was almost impossible finding a venue because everything was taken, and it's super frustrating. And then you're oh, let's pick the food out, and you're I don't know if I want this. I don't know if it's a whole. And then with the wedding gifts and stuff like that, when you guys pick your wedding gifts, just kind of take it as a grain of salt, because both of us got pretty frustrated picking stuff out. I'm oh, well, we should get this. No, I don't want that. And then she's oh, what about this? I'm no, I don't think it's a good idea. So
yeah,
but
my goal is to let her do the most of the picking, and then if there's things that I feel I really need, I'll chime in there. But she's really good with knowing what we need, so I'm not too stressed about it.
Yeah, and just wait, after the wedding, everyone's going to be asking you when you're having kids.
Yeah, my term is we're pushing that off as long as possible.
Yep.
I'm still not done with school, so the thought of having kids at this point is that's very far off.
My wife and I pushed it back to, I was 35 when we had our first, 34 when we had our first kid. And I was that's perfectly fine, because I couldn't imagine being in my late 20s, having a kid.
No, there's no chance. Yeah, we'll probably be around that same time frame if I had to guess.
Nice, very cool. But just be on the work, just Heads up, everyone and their mother's gonna ask you right after the wedding. It's super important. So, but
I'll come up with a standardized answer for everyone, I guess.
Ask them, like, when are you having a kid?
Yeah, right.
So I know you're going to school for being a doctor for physical therapy. So what made you get into that?
I kind of just fell into it, to be completely honest with you. I started my undergrad. I went to school for business, and it was a nightmare. Like, I absolutely hated it. So I made it through, I think, a semester of business school, and then I quit that and was just like searching for anything that I thought I would find more interesting. And obviously, I loved working out and I loved weightlifting and like all of that stuff, but I didn't see like a long-term future just doing something like personal training or getting a degree in just exercise science. I was looking for something that I could just, do more with. And so someone mentioned physical therapy, and that most of it is just, exercise and movement. And I thought that was really cool. And so without really knowing what physical therapy really was, I was like, all right, let's just jump on this. Like, the undergrad degree is exercise and movement, which is something that I know that I like. And then hopefully in 4 years when I graduate with that degree, I'm still interested in it, and then I can go and pursue physical therapy at that time. And it's kind of what happened. So I'm truly very lucky that I ended up choosing that path and then finding something that I do enjoy.
Very cool. So how does it feel now you can officially poke and prod people?
It's nice, we call it PT. Patients always ask, like, sometimes, like, what does that mean? I'm like, it's pain and torture. Like, we're just going to make you hurt in order to make you better. You'll be fine. Just put up with it.
Very cool. So, how many more? So you have like a residency, or like where are you at through the whole process of finishing?
Yeah. So grad school in itself for physical therapy is 3 years long. The way that my program does it is a little unique. We do the first two years are just straight in-school education, and then our final third year is just spent on clinical rotations.
Very cool.
So right now, I'm at the start of my third of 4 rotations. So in May, I'll actually graduate. So I have to finish up this rotation, which is about like 8 more weeks, and then I have another 10-week one after this, and then I'll be done.
Very cool. So what are your plans after you graduate and everything? Are you looking to start your own practice, or what are you looking to do?
Long term, yeah, I would love my own like cash-based PT practice, and I would really like to do it like out of CrossFit gyms initially, just trying to like get my foot in the door, get exposure to more people, things like that. And then when we end up landing wherever we'll be, like to start a family, things like that, I'll more than likely open my own clinic that way. Mm-hmm. It would just kind of seem silly to me to actually open, a clinic or an actual location somewhere where we end up moving 2 years later. Like, it's just, the work there wouldn't be worth that. So I'm hoping I can just kind of hop around in whatever area we are in, build up clientele that way, and then just practice independently.
Very cool. Are you looking to get out of the Ohio area, or just what are your options you thinking?
Yeah, so actually when I graduate, my fiance will end up going on her rotations for school, and that's more than likely going to move us out east towards like Maryland, Boston area, somewhere over there. So we'll go over there. I'll probably end up working in just like an outpatient clinic, at least part-time, and then trying to do my own thing on the side that way. But then after that, she really wants to end up in Boston, at least for a few years. So after that, next year, we'll go to Boston, spend a few years. Maybe that ends up being our long-term spot, but when we end up having a family and stuff, odds are we'll probably come back to Cincinnati, and then I'll kind of make my business roots here at that point.
Well, if you have any questions about Boston, that's where I'm originally from, so I could definitely help you out with that. So
awesome.
So you talked about CrossFit earlier. So when did you get? I know. I was doing some homework on you. I know you've been pretty much a soccer player pretty much your whole life till your freshman year of college. So when did CrossFit come about?
So CrossFit came about pretty much exactly when soccer stopped. At the first university I went to play soccer was Ohio Northern, like a really small D3 school. Went up there really much specifically for soccer. Didn't really have much interest in the school other than that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, soccer ended up not working out. So, I was stuck up there going, all right, like, now what? It's a school in the middle of a cornfield. There's nothing to do. Like, I need something if soccer's not here. And fortunately, they had a really small CrossFit club. And so I just kind of got started with that and fell in love at that point.
Very cool. Now, and I know you went to University of Cincinnati after. And did I don't know if I read it right, but you started like another club in University of Cincinnati?
Yeah, I did. So after leaving Ohio Northern my freshman year, transferred to UC, closer to home, bigger school, just had more opportunities. But they did not have a CrossFit club. And I was like, if this small D3 school has a CrossFit club, like this giant university, like there should be some kind of club here for CrossFit. And at the time, there really wasn't. So I ended up kind of pairing up with some guys who became pretty good friends of mine, and they also did CrossFit. And we're like, let's make this a real thing. So we went and just talked with like Club Sports Board and filed all the paperwork we needed to file and started the club. Yeah.
Very cool. And so, were you the person that was like running the programs? Like, did you guys need insurance? Like, what were the processes to actually get it going?
Yeah, so it was a little bit easier for us because like all the insurance and nuances with that stuff went through the university. So as long as we established ourselves as a legitimate, good standing club with the university, all that was covered, and we didn't have to deal with any of that. There were like finances and things that we had to take care of, but we allocated a treasurer, and that guy was really good at math, so we let him deal with all that stuff. But we did it out of the same gym I actually currently go to now. It's called CrossFit Soto, it's pretty close to the university itself, so it was really easy to get people to commute down to the actual gym. So that way, basically, we were just in charge of getting everyone together and kind of making a community out of it rather than having to deal with like programming and any of that kind of stuff. So it was really our deal was just get people exposed to CrossFit.
Very cool. And now you're a coach. Now you're a coach there. So how has that been for you?
It's been good. Becoming a coach was massively helpful for me. Just getting outside of my comfort zone, like especially translating into like physical therapy and stuff. Like just being a presence in front of a crowd of people or even an individual, and just being comfortable explaining movement and just being comfortable being yourself, in front of other people. Like it's been massively helpful. And especially we have such a good community at that gym that it's been great to grow through coaching and then grow as an athlete and just become more involved with everyone there.
Very cool. So what's your style of coaching? Do you have like a special way compared to like anybody else that does it?
Probably not. It's probably changed over the years too. Like, I mean, when I started coaching, I knew CrossFit movements pretty well. But I mean, I don't want to hate on the L1. I mean, they basically just teach you this is how you do 47 movements, and we have 2 days to teach it to you. And so you kind of come into coaching without a huge education or a huge background in how to actually coach movement. And so when I first started, it was more about just like morale of the gym and like, let's get everyone excited. And here we're going to go through X, Y, Z, and I'm going to make sure no one gets hurt. Yeah. And so over the years now, like with all my education through physical therapy, like my style of coaching is more of like, you guys know how to do all of this stuff. I'm going to go around to everyone and just give everyone little tidbits on like how they can do these tiny little things better. And it's more for me, it's just like a physical therapy. It gives me time to experience and like experiment with people and how to like implement physical therapy things into CrossFit specific movements. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely changed over the years.
Very cool. Very cool. So when did you see yourself kind of realizing like, hey, I could probably do something with CrossFit? Like when like everyone, you were like beating everybody in the class at all, or like what was happening?
Like on the competitive side of things?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, I gotta be honest, there was never like a moment where I was like, I think I can do this. Like the first year I qualified for regionals in 2018, I had zero expectation of being able to actually qualify. The year leading up to that, I had actually started following CompTrain, and so I was like amping up volume and things like this, but I was kind of like going into it with like a 2-year plan in mind. So I was like 18, like there's no way, like there's no chance I'm going to be good enough to qualify for regionals this year. The year after, maybe I'll have a shot. And so I just did the right stuff, increased intensity, increased volume, and the open and 18 rolled around, and I was just like, holy crap, like how did that happen? Like I truly had no expectation of making that happen, and so I was just, I guess at that point I was like, okay, like maybe I can do this if I didn't expect to be here and I got here.
Very cool, very cool. And I know that I think it was in 2019 the what was it called? Strength and depth. You were like a couple points off of making it to the games.
Yeah. It came down to 3 seconds.
Oh, that's fun. So,
yeah.
So have you obviously like that's like a huge learning point to you? I guess. So like,
yeah.
what came out of that when you lost by like 3 seconds?
Attention to detail was the big thing. Like event execution. Over the course of that weekend in particular, like I just made a ton of mistakes, and they're not like huge things that cost me tons of points here and there, but I ended up, not making it to the games, but I think it was like 6 points, just one placement in the one event over 7 events, like that's nothing. Over the course of that weekend, there were times where like, I just broke up sets when I didn't need to, or I just like moving implements, because we always have to move stuff on the floor, like fumbling with things or forgetting I had to move it and then going back and moving it and go to the next thing. Like it's just stuff like that, like very little things you don't have to think about unless you are specifically competing. There's really trying to train that without just exposure to those things. And so it just came down to like, I have to pay attention to all those little things. And as I prepare for competitions, like set things up in the gym for just basic workouts, almost like I was going to be on a competition floor, just so that I know, like, all right, finish the movement, move this cone, go back, do the next movement, like just stuff like that.
Yeah, very cool. Now, did you have a coach down like over there while you were working out or at the competition?
For strength and depth, I did not have a coach over there. I had at that time, I think I had just started working with a coach. I think that was the first competition I did where I had a coach. Yeah. Yeah, because a Wodapalooza before that, I did not. And then I connected with Amanda Barnhart after Wodapalooza, and then I started working with her coach at that time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I've seen you in Amanda Barnhart's videos too. So, what is it like training with her?
It's a beatdown. I don't win a lot of workouts. I was really lucky. When we connected at first, I think I was at like the end of my undergrad, so I wasn't really. School was pretty simple at that time, so I pretty much was full-time training with her, which was just a great experience to get exposure to, what it takes to be a top-level games athlete, and I learned a ton from her. And it was also great just building a great, friendship out with that as well. But yeah, she's extremely fit.
Yeah. So have you learned anything, or is she like giving you like a little bit of tips here and there just to kind of help out with your process of like becoming a better CrossFit athlete?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of it is like, mindset things of like focusing on the things you can control and stuff like that. Or, I mean, even just having her eyes on me during workouts of like ways or techniques I can do things better or faster, especially like on the weightlifting side. Like she's obviously a tank when it comes to that, and that's more of my weakness. So like it was nice having her as well as my coach watching me pretty much all the time, saying like, hey, try this, do this, change this.
Very cool. So do you get like nervous at all, like when they record you during like a workout, be like, hey, you may want to like aim it over here a little bit instead of me. It's like, what like, does that like mess with your head at all?
Honestly, not really. No, that's for whatever reason always been pretty comfortable. Like it's just kind of for me, it was always fun. It was just like felt like an honor to be a part of that stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty cool. I mean, for me, it's kind of cool seeing yourself like, hey, like I'm in this video and you can see me there, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I'm that guy in the background. Look at watch.
Yeah, it's me. Hey, that's me. Look. Just don't look at her. Just look at me. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very cool. So, so with the next, you're in school and stuff like that. So, have any plans at all for working with? I know Amanda's up in New England. Do you have like any plans of like going up there for a little while to train with them, or what's the process that you're thinking of?
No, I have no plans to do that actually. After Granite Games this last year, I actually started following Hard Work Pays Off, Matt's program. So I've actually not been following CompTrain for the last 6-ish months. It just kind of didn't seem like the best fit for me anymore. I felt like I was at a point where the past several competitions I'd pretty much placed in the exact same spot over and over and over again, and I just was looking to change things to see if I could make anything help. And so I kind of out of contact with CompTrain, minus talking to Amanda here or there. But yeah, there's really no plans to head up there anytime soon.
Yeah. So are you looking to do any camps with Hard Work Pays Off?
If I got invited to, that would be sweet.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So like out of all the programs, like I know you did CompTrain, but like what was the reason why Hard Work Pays Off was like, all right, I got it. I think this was the one for me.
So before joining, I actually just kind of took a shot and I messaged Matt on Instagram and was like, hey, like I'm kind of looking to change programs. And it was at the point where he had not actually launched his yet. And so we didn't really have any information on what it was going to look like. And so I just asked him, like, can you give me like just a really basic rundown? Because I'm looking for something new. And he pretty much just kind of outlined the whole thing for me of like what areas of focus will be and how things will change over the course of the season. And it's extremely tailored towards the things that I struggle with. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm going to be extremely limited on time moving forward. And if this program is going to focus on the things that I really need to work on so that I don't have to really think about changing things or like figuring out what I'm missing in my program, I'm just going to go all in on this and see where it takes me.
Very cool. So obviously I know you have a busy schedule. So how do you manage, schooling, coaching, family life and training at the same time?
It's challenging. The biggest thing is like right now, like I don't coach really much at all just because there's literally not enough hours in the day, which is unfortunate, but it was kind of a necessary cut. I'm working basically 40 hours a week. I work 4 10s every week. So I have 3 days where I'm not working. So those 3 days are basically prioritizing training days. So those are like my big days. And then there's 2 days a week where I train after work. And those are pretty much like I give it the best I can. But after working a 10-hour shift, it's like I'm happy if I can get one solid workout in and then just like struggle through another hour maybe of other stuff. Like just the energy levels at that point are so low that like it's doing really whatever I can and just being happy with giving my best effort, which has been something I've been struggling with, like going from having 3.5, 4 hours every single day, to work out to like being minimized to, sometimes just an hour and a half and just learning to be okay and being happy with that is like, it's been tough, but making it work.
Yeah. So when did you realize like, hey, this is going to be happening for like, small hours or like smaller workouts, obviously like, I can imagine you were being like really pissed. So when did the realization be like, hey, this is perfectly okay? Did someone talk to you about it or did it, naturally come in your head at all?
No, I mean, I haven't really come to terms with it yet, to be totally honest with you. You could ask my fiance. It's pretty much there's a once a week meltdown that happens because it just doesn't feel like I'm doing enough ever. And then even though I'm doing the best I can, it doesn't feel like it's enough. But it's just the process of coming to terms with like I can't change anything. I'm trying to dot my I's and cross my T's the best I can, but there's really not much else I can change. And I'm giving it everything I got on the days where I'm not at work, and then the days when I do, it's do the best I can there as well. But like, it'll be interesting with Wallapalooza coming up, just seeing how well I perform there with how much my hours in the gym have changed. And like, although my hours have changed, the focus has been more specifically on stuff I need to improve. So I'm just really curious to see what ends up happening with that, because like normally I go into competition and I feel like everything has gotten better from competition to competition, but like going into Wallapalooza, like this week I started running again. I haven't run for like 6 months because I'm like, that is the thing that I feel I am the best at in CrossFit, so I'm not going to touch that. So I've been tinkering with it a little bit, so there's some familiarity going into Wallapalooza, but it's like I'm totally in the dark of like, is that now a weakness because I haven't touched it in so long, or am I okay there? And I've still improved on everything else because I've been prioritizing that stuff. So like, I feel like I'm the most in the dark going into a competition than I have been since like my first regionals. I literally have no clue where my fitness stacks up with everyone else right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least the good thing is you have muscle memory for running.
Yeah, right. So, I've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, you've been playing soccer, so you run, so and like you can kind of. I mean, I believe you can kind of gauge on like what the pace that you can handle before like blowing up or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a big part of that. Like, it does feel very natural, and I feel like I am very good at gauging like how hard can I go for how long, things like that. But I mean, just in the past, like even though I did feel that way, I'd still spent so many hours doing just running. Like when a run would pop up in a competition, I was like, all right, sweet, this is the top 5. There was no doubt in my mind, like at all, that I would go top 5 in an event like that, or even take it. But now I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. So
I mean, that might be a good thing.
It could be a good thing. I mean, it really could be. Like, it could show me that maybe I don't need to do it really ever, and I'll still be good enough at it because I've done it for so many years. And then if you can just allocate literally every second of my time towards the stuff I need to. So, yeah, and it'll be a good learning experience for sure.
Yeah. So, what are the well, if you don't mind me asking, what are the weaknesses you're working on?
Olympic weightlifting has been huge, and then just heavy strength cycles. Going through the past 6 months, I think I've done 2 back squat cycles and a deadlift cycle, and like a heavy strict press cycle as well. And all my numbers have gone up, which has been really cool because I really haven't spent time doing very specific, like heavy cycles like that in like years. Like comp training just doesn't really operate that way.
No.
There was more of like lift on the minute, like conditioning weightlifting stuff, whereas like the way Matt programs, he's like, you're going to do 3 squats, you're going to rest for 5 minutes before you do your next set. Like, it's very much tailored towards just like power output, and that's been something that has been huge for me so far.
Yeah, I followed comp train for a little while too, like roughly about like a year. And then I went back to Misfit Athletics because I've been doing their program for quite a while. And they're all about like just heavy lifting. And which is good because like obviously me being an older individual, being 42, like my number I haven't hit like this is the most I've ever lifted ever for like Olympic weightlifting for both the snatch and the clean and jerk, and it's just like this should be like the opposite. It should be like I'd be going down in weight, not going up.
Right.
But and it's amazing, and like I managed to talk to them, especially being a taller individual. Like yourself, but I got a couple more inches on you, so I'm like 6'6". So,
yeah, you are a lot taller than I am.
But I mean, at least I mean, their squat cycles are really good, and their lifting stuff is amazing. So I'm not trying to promote it to you, but I'm like, obviously Matt's is really good because I've seen his stuff on the Buttery Bros YouTube videos, and he knows his stuff, and he's well versed in everything. All right, yeah. So with the Wadapalooza, what are you looking to do? Like, you're looking to do any comps, like anything for the rest of the year at all, or?
Other than Wadapalooza, that would probably be it until the Open. It was a bit of a stretch for me to get time off just to go compete at Wadapalooza. Didn't make my program super happy. So that'll pretty much be it until the Open. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you like the 3 workouts instead of the 5?
For the Open?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, big time. I think for the high-level athlete, it's great because you can pretty much distinguish who needs to go through in 3 workouts, especially with them taking 10%. Like, you don't need 5 in order to make that decision. So it reduces stress on us, which is great. And then I think as far as the community goes, like, no one cares after 3 workouts. No. We watch the drop off in participation. It's like people are just over it. Over a month of focusing on that, like, they just don't care. So I think 3 weeks is a super sweet spot, and it makes it a better experience for everyone.
Yeah, and I do like the 10% thing too, because then you have the average gym goers going in and saying, "Hey, I made it to the top 10%," which is pretty cool, and it's actually good for the community because they can have somebody to cheer on, instead of an absolute stud, and they're like, all right, we already know he's gonna make it through the Open, but Mary just made it with she was the last one to make it into the top 10%. How cool is that? So let's cheer her on for the next couple workouts.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it pretty much gives every single gym an opportunity to have someone go through.
Yeah.
So every gym has the opportunity to cheer someone on at that next level, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then it's just great because if there are people who do want to keep training for competition specifically, it gives them a taste of, hey, this is what it feels like to qualify. This is what it feels like for pressure to increase. This is what it's like when the workouts actually get harder after the Open, So it's a great learning experience for athletes. It's great for the community. I think the format is perfect. Yeah. Truly.
If I made it to the 10%, those pistols would have just buried me.
Yeah. Pistol. We can just take pistols out of CrossFit in general, in my opinion. But yeah, those movements like that just should not exist.
Yeah. So, did you see the Dubai CrossFit Championships this weekend at all?
I caught as much of it as I could. And I watched the hustle recap videos and things like that, but I did not actually watch most of them live.
Did you see the A squats that they were doing?
I did, yeah.
So I thought those were kind of interesting. I thought they were super dangerous, especially with holding dumbbells on the shoulders. So what are your thoughts on that?
I would agree with you. I think creativity has a point where it should end. I think we could have all the athletes just do front squats and get the same thing out of it rather than throw dynamic movement at them, which could end up hurting a lot of people when you can get the same stimulus out of a much safer movement. It looks cool, but at what cost,
Yeah, I mean it's almost like the Florida Grid League that they have, they doing these crazy movements.
Oh my gosh! Don't even start on Grid League. That is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I will be so outspoken on that. I cannot stand some of the stuff they do.
I've interviewed a couple of the athletes, and they're awesome. I like them, but some of the movements
they're incredible.
Yeah,
they're incredible athletes.
Some of the movements I've seen, it's just there was one. It was a hang clean thruster kind of deal. So they caught it and he did a thruster, then dropped it and did a hang clean and to catch it and then back to a thruster. And it was super fast. And I was like, how? I mean, this is very, out of the ordinary, something new out of the bag, but it's just is it really worth it?
No. Yeah, the answer is that it's not. And that is so bad for your shoulders is unbelievable. And the movements where they do the toe to bar, chest to bar
Yes.
in the same kip swing. Why? Like, why is that necessary? Just do chest to bar or just do bar muscle ups. Like, it's such a risk for nothing. For nothing. Because in my opinion, it doesn't look cool. It looks silly. Like, I think the point is to make it look really cool, but I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, and I've talked to other like former, like when the Grid League did come out, other athletes, like CrossFit athletes, and it's like they absolutely got wrecked during the Grid League, and then training for CrossFit. This was like in the early stages, so I can't imagine like some of those people actually made it to the games as on like teams and stuff like that, and I'm like, how's your body feel after that?
It's got to be wrecked. It has to decrease your longevity in the sport. I mean, there's no way around that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, speaking about longevity, do you see like a lot of more athletes like lasting longer throughout like in their careers since like learning all these new things and everything?
I would say yeah. The way I look at it, like we've had kind of like two generations of CrossFitters at this point. You have like the Rich Froding, Chris Spieler, Matt Chan, Jason Kalipa. There's like that generation, and then I think that the guys that followed them, like Fraser, Vellner, Olsen, Sager, those guys, I think they are outlasting the generation before. I mean, those guys, it looks like they're going to go into early 30s. Like I think Vellner is like 32 maybe now, and I would see him going a year or two more. Same with like Noah Olsen, Cole Sager. Like I don't think they're done yet, and I think they'll go for a few more years. And they appear to be healthier than the guys or the generation before them when they left. Because I think those guys were like almost pushing 30, not even quite 30, when they all kind of decided to step away from the individual side of things. I don't know exactly why that is. I don't think there's been a huge shift in programming. I honestly think everything has gotten harder. But I do think there's been more of an emphasis on like physical therapy side of things. Like you don't have to just beat yourself into the ground every single day in order to do massive amounts of volume. Like do a lot of volume, but also within that you have to incorporate like rehabilitative exercises and things like that.
Yeah.
And I do think that's what's making a difference right now.
Very cool. Yeah, because I remember watching a Matt Fraser video, and like on his rest day, he was pretty much just foam rolling or using a ball massage like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, they, of course, those guys in the beginning, they would never do that. They would just like throw themselves against the wall and just keep on doing it.
Yeah, they keep doing it. Like rest day would not be rest day. It'd be go easy 6 mile run. It's like that. Okay, that's not active recovery. And then, yeah. This is very different.
Yeah, very cool. So are you looking to, with your physical therapy, you looking to help out other athletes as well, or what?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I started actually practicing, I would love to tailor everything towards the CrossFit population as much as possible. And I really love just the actual profession itself. And if I can help out high-level athletes, even while I'm still competing, I mean, I think that would be awesome, just to get that kind of respect from high-level athletes would be awesome. I have a feeling I would probably be done with CrossFit by that point, but before like building a name for myself. I mean, I would say I've got myself 4 more years if I'm lucky. I'm 26, and at this point, if the games and stuff don't happen, it would be a struggle to still spend as much time training and stuff while trying to build a business and things like that. So I think by the point that I can really help the high-level athletes, I'll probably be done with CrossFit. But if that time comes sooner, I mean, I would have no problem helping my competitors get healthier.
Yeah. Well, are you looking to do, like, obviously that's a long time in front of you, but like possibly Masters,
Like for me competing?
Yeah. I'm just saying that's like way in advance, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. So
no, I would probably not ever do that. I don't see myself being 35 and wanting to train at a high enough intensity to do Masters. Yeah. Obviously, always still CrossFit will be a part of my life, and I love working out, so that'll still happen. But masters athletes do just as much as the normal individuals do, just without the glory, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And no fans either.
And no fans. I don't, yeah, the appeal is, it's not there for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I asked somebody like, why don't you think that like masters should get as many fans as they should the elite athletes? But then like he's saying, yeah, but like they're not doing the crazy heavy weights that like the elites are doing. So what's the appeal to it? It's like they're doing the same stuff that they could do in a normal gym compared to these guys like deadlifting 405 for like reps of 20.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really hard to get media attention or crowd attention to it when they're doing all the same things, just not at the same weights, or just not, yeah, the implements are not as crazy or cool or fun to watch. It's hard enough to get massive crowds to watch our own individuals, you know? We don't have millions of people watching yet, so to have a big crowd go watch people that are doing less, it's not there.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but at this time, it's just not, it's not going to happen.
I hear you. So, I wanted to talk to you about your tattoos as well, because obviously you have that one going up your leg saying "Believe." Like, what made you get that?
Believe is always, just growing up, there's no reason for it. It is just been a word that has always meant a lot to me. With soccer and then transitioning to CrossFit, it's always represented just like fighting for more. Mm-hmm. You know, like believing you can do things that you don't necessarily think are possible or that others don't think are possible. I think I got it actually during the transition from soccer to CrossFit, and it didn't represent like believe you can go to the games or believe in like anything like that. It was just kind of like a commitment to trying to be better. That's kind of what it is for me.
I like it. And I saw that you had one on your the back of your arm. So what was that one?
So I've got that one, if you can see it. That's the Deathly Hallows symbol from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Huge Harry Potter fan. I've got a little barbell.
Nice.
Like stick figure thing on my arm. That was my trophy that I got for myself when I made it to regionals for the first time. Because I'd always wanted like a little barbell tattoo. And I was like, there needs to be some reason for it. I can't just go get one. Mm-hmm. So my excuse was it's my trophy. And then I've got a tiny little smiley face on my left wrist, which I don't know if...
Yeah, I can see it, yeah. Very little.
See that? Yeah, it's there. I used to draw smiley faces on myself growing up all the time, so I just wanted another excuse to get a tattoo. And then I have a pair of pink sunglasses on my left ribs. My grandpa used to wear them growing up. While I was growing up, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So when he passed away, I got those as a tribute to him.
Very cool. And are you looking to get any more at all, or?
I would love to, but financially they are expensive. Yeah. So at this point, I'm pushing them off until I actually have a job and can do that. Yeah. But I don't even really know what they would be at this point either. So, but yeah, there will probably be more.
Yeah, I'm always like. I've always thought about getting one, and like now being like 42, it's just like, is it really worth it? Because like I really want. I was thinking like maybe like on my arm, get like a silhouette of like my two kids, or
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and then like another one on this side, like the Type 1 lifting logo that I have like on my arm, and then like another thing is like no one really knows. Other than me talking about it, that I'm a diabetic. So like if I, God forbid, knock on wood, like keel over, like when nobody's around, no one's gonna know that I'm a diabetic. So because I don't do any warning. I don't have any like bracelets or anything like that saying that I am. So I was thinking maybe getting like a diabetic or type 1 diabetic or something in there. But I talked to my wife.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and my wife's like, but you're making the disease like part of you, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, there's validity to that statement, and don't let it define you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you said, like God forbid, something does happen, like you will be rescued a whole lot quicker if they knew.
That is true. Yeah. I may consider doing that. So we're getting close to the end. So I have a couple questions to ask you. So obviously we knocked out the tattoos thing. So obviously you got school and all that stuff going on. So what are your goals that you want to hit for 2022?
2022. Actually graduate.
Well, yeah.
Not a lofty goal. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Qualify for the games. That's a big one. Top 10 at Lollapalooza. Actually start building my own independent, like cash-based practice. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. Even if I'm working for a company, still making sure that I actually begin that business. Get married.
I was going to ask that one. So,
I mean, that's the big stuff, man. And continue to build relationships with friends and family. That's important too. But the big ones are continue to do well in competition and start my business and get married, man.
Nice.
It's weird to say that, but it's happening.
Yeah, and it's when I got married, like the next day, it kind of feels the same, but like then you have that ring on your finger, and it's just like, okay, like we're together officially, which is a cool thing. But it then like you think of it, it's like you're like we're kind of doing the same thing anyway. So
there's really nothing changed, but
and then like when the giblets pop out, when the giblets pop out, that's like a whole new game change. It was interesting. Like even when we were planning on having our second one, I was like, well, I'm pretty cool with one.
right. Like, one's great.
Yeah, because I didn't know what to expect, and then like the second one came, and I'm glad we had our second one. But it's like just my main thing is like I didn't want to be a 40-year-old new dad, and so she's 3. So so I was like, we're sticking with 2. I don't want any more. So I mean, I'm happy the way it went.
Good. That's great.
Yeah. It's a ride, so like
Yeah, I literally cannot imagine.
Like the oldest one's a boy and the youngest one's a girl, and like the oldest one is exactly like me, and then the youngest one is exactly like my wife. She's not a morning person. She hates getting up, and she's just like she's just miserable waking up. She's like, I just want to lay down and go back to bed, kind of deal. She's like, don't like leave me alone. And then my Bennett's like just jumping on top of her, and it's just like, no, Bennett, you gotta like leave her alone. Like she's not like you, so just So, but it's cool seeing all those like little personalities and them growing and stuff like that. So I mean, whenever you guys have kids, you'll be like, damn, this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Very cool. So. I know you said you're a Harry Potter fan. So, do you have any other books that you like to read or give out to gifts to your friends at all?
Oh man, I am not big into like the habit books or the mindset books. I don't really read a whole lot of those. My reading is primarily just like Harry Potter or Stephen King books. Like I love that stuff. So when I do give books or reads, it's usually that stuff, like non-productive things. What I have been listening to lately is Will Smith's new book. I don't know if you've listened to that. He's got a lot of cool like mindset stuff and like habit forming things in that book, and just like it's cool. Just like a good understanding of life book. Mm-hmm. I would recommend that to anyone right now. That's one I'm getting through.
Yeah, I wanted to. That's one book I want to get to. But Matthew McConaughey's book came out a little while ago.
Oh, I read that one too. That one's great.
Yeah, I really want to read that one. So I recently bought this one. It's the Rick Ross book, Boss Up.
Oh, nice.
So it's like talking about him like during the pandemic and stuff like that, and how he like managed to like just because like his main source of income is like doing concerts, meetups, and like all that kind of stuff, and like it just went out the window. So he just like talks about how he manages to still make money and like still like do his thing while being stuck at home, pretty much.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm happy to read. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I saw it in Barnes and Noble. I was getting my my coworker. He just had a kid. It says go the fuck to sleep. Pardon my French. It's like a humor book. It's a children's book. It's a humor book, and I saw that and I was like, all right, I'll give it that a whirl.
Nice. That sounds funny.
Yeah, if you have the chance, if you have Audible, you should listen to "Go the Fuck to Sleep" because Samuel L. Jackson does the reading.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's so funny. You definitely got.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
And it's not that long. It's probably like a 12-page book, and it's just like him just reading it. It'll be quick. You'll get a kick out of it.
All right, I'll listen to it.
All right, very cool. And what? Let's just say, you're done with CrossFit. Physical therapy. Everything. So how do you want people to know you as? I went deep there.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Something I've been thinking about a lot over the past year is like finding my why. And I have not come to a conclusive answer. It's still kind of in the works, and like something that has always been important to me is like just inspiring people to try and achieve more. So if my legacy can be just people remember me as someone who continued to work hard even when the odds weren't in their favor, I think that would be awesome. Just inspiring people to continue to push, even if the outlook looks bleak. I think that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, and you're still 26, so you got time. I think
I've got some time.
I mean, I think my why is like for me is like podcasting, talking to people and and just talking about diabetes and stuff. So I mean, you have plenty of time to think about it. So don't worry.
Yeah.
So what do you got in your gym bag?
My gym bag. Oh, it's kind of a boring answer, but my gym bag has my belt, my Metcons, no blue lifters, like 10,000 headbands, some wrist sweatbands, a lacrosse ball, and then tape.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything fun in there. Oh, it's also got, from when I went to London, I have a couple like dollar pounds in there that I have never taken out.
Okay.
But that's my probably only fun thing that I have left in there.
Hey, that's cool. So, what would you tell somebody that's new to the CrossFit space, like what to expect to, make it to regionals, like make it to an actual, like, professional competition?
I would say you have a very low trajectory towards a very high distant horizon. And it only gets harder the better you get. So make sure you love what you're doing because it's not going to be easy. I think that's the biggest thing. I think people that have very high ambition getting into the sport, I mean, like myself, you think it's going to come quick and it does not. It just gets harder, especially every year as everyone gets better. The standard of making it to the games is higher every year as you try and get better. So it's going to be a long road.
Yeah, I mean, even the money wise is getting better and better too. So
that's true.
Yeah, very cool. So where can people reach out to you if they have any questions about like PT, go doing CrossFit, maybe finding your why, where can they reach out?
My Instagram is D_Wayman, and that would be the best spot. I mean, I'm happy to answer literally any question under the sun, so I'd be happy to talk with anyone.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me and talk about your experience in the CrossFit space and in the PT world, and I'd love to have you back on like the end of the year and see how everything else is going. Maybe like we could talk about wedding stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.